Well, you just officially got us banned from YouTube for this video. We're going to get knocked down on that one, so that's cool.
Yeah.
And we're going to go into more controversial topics coming up that are sure to get this thing knocked off of every platform. So thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. That's my job, is to get truth banned completely. It's not that they don't believe in God. They just believe they are God. And that's why they wanted to stop you from going to church, because that wasn't essential. We got to stop letting fear be the control for us. I keep telling them, I want to wake up the lions. The sheep are going to be the sheep. The biggest weapon against them and against, well, what they do themselves is apathy. I think apathy is one of the biggest killers in America, let alone the world.
With a raging pet allergy and an ignored case of lactose intolerance, broadcasting from the green part of northeastern Oklahoma, I'm your host, Garrett Hampton, and you are listening to The Thinking Dad. I'm so glad you've joined me today. I have a great guest for you, Kevin Sorbo, K-Sorbs. But before we get into it, I want to tell you about my sponsor, CTCMath. We are blessed to have CTCMath joining us for this first season of The Thinking Dad. They're a great company, and I want to tell you, thinking dads raise thinking kids. And one of the most important things you can do as a father is make sure your kids are getting a great education to prepare them for life. CTCMath will fill in the gaps and make sure your kids, even the struggling math learners, will have a solid foundation to move forward in life. Try it for free at ctcmath.com. They have a money-back guarantee that I'm sure you're not going to need because they make a great product. Check them out today, ctcmath.com. Tell them thank you for supporting the Thinking Dad podcast. Well, Kevin, I think we might be making history today. I have a feeling we're the best looking on-screen duo since maybe like Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon. So I'm really happy to have you on the screen today. It's always nice when somebody can come on and match my stunning good looks. So
there you go. There you go.
I appreciate it. Former male model, right? Is this true?
I did that for a while. I did. That was like a total kind of fluky thing for me. I mean, I was in my last year of university and met a young lady that was 3 years younger than me. She was 19 and she was a big time model. And I started doing some, doing a lot of commercial work during the college years in Minneapolis. A lot of people don't realize Minneapolis is headquarters to Best Buy, Target, 3M, Honeywell, Pillsbury, General Mills, all these big TCBY yogurt companies. So did a lot of commercial work that got me that all-important Screen Actors Guild card, that SAG union card. But she said, hey, just come to Italy with me for a little while and before you move to LA. And 3 months turned into 3.5 years.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I think you hold the record. You're the first former male model on my show. So
all right, cool.
Welcome. This is awesome.
I never felt good with that title. I'd rather be an actor.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to the acting and the directing and producing and authoring as well. So yeah, you've got a lot on your resume. I'd love to tell a quick story, and I'm not sure if you remember this, Kevin. We met in Clearwater, Florida in 2018 under really neat circumstances. We were filming for Schoolhouse Rocked, the Homeschool Revolution.
Oh my gosh.
And you were filming for Bernie the Dolphin, the family favorite. And so by God's great work, we had reached out to your wife about the film, and she said, I was wondering when somebody was going to call me about this. And we were in Savannah, Georgia, and we would have driven to California to film with Sam. And she goes, well, we're in Clearwater, Florida this week, which was like a 6-hour drive for us.
Right.
So we drove down. She was speaking at a conference like in Minnesota that day.
Sure. And
we got to your house, met the kids. They let us in. We set up lights and everything. And Sam flew in and said, okay, I'm going to be there. I'm at the airport. I'll be there in a few minutes.
Funny.
She walks in her travel gear after speaking that morning and is ready in 15 minutes and is just camera ready. It was incredible. So, and I
remember that. I remember that now. Yeah. I shot Bernie Dolphin 1 and Bernie Dolphin 2. And I remember here it was in Clearwater because that 2018 was our last year living in LA. We left in 2019. We've been living in Florida the last 5 years. And it was 28 degrees. I said, this is Florida? it was just fluky, but it was horrible on that beach. The wind was howling, and we're out, doing these scenes like it's, like it's supposed to be summertime.
The day you were there and that we met, you were doing a night shoot, and I imagine it would have been miserable that night. So we had a nice night. We went out to dinner with your family and had a great steak. So
that's great.
Sorry you had to be filming in the cold, but
that was it. We did about 5 night days. I remember that the 1 week we had all night shoots, which I'm not a fan of. I don't think anybody is.
No, they're awful. So I wanted to talk to you actually about that move, because at that time you were in California.
Yep.
And then shortly after COVID hit and things got real weird in California.
Oh, we left before COVID.
Oh, you did? Okay.
We moved January of 2019.
Oh, okay. So what spurred that move? What was the motivation?
We both have family in Florida. I mean, it's weird now that I'm here. Both my brothers that were living here have both moved away. One went to California. Why, I don't know. The other one went up to North Carolina. But we've been coming up for years. My wife's sister lives there in Davis Island in Tampa, and she's been here 40 years probably. Okay. And we've always liked it out here. And I just got to a point I got tired of California. I got tired of what they've done to the state. I got number one, I got tired of the taxes, tired of the traffic. The traffic just sucks. And then the politics of that state. I mean, 7 million people, actually, it's 8 million people now have moved out of that state in the last 10 years. 8 million people have left. We're talking about people like me that are taxpayers.
Right.
People that actually work for a living. The population has probably stayed the same there with all the illegal aliens that they allowed in there and giving them, free cell phones, free tennis shoes, and free health care, and not letting families afford do anything but work their butts off for nothing. I mean, that's just, we're so screwed up. But I got to a point, I missed my home there. We lived in Thousand Oaks area, which is about an hour and a half north of LA, an hour and a half south of Santa Barbara. And I loved it there. Still miss my house, miss my golf course there. But when I got on the 101, I would just go into, crazy mode. I just to sit in that traffic and take you an hour and a half to go 20 miles. I just said, I'm so done with this. I'm just so done with it. And every movie I shoot, I've shot over 80 movies. I've shot probably 90% of them in Texas or further east. Nothing shoots in California. I said, why are we doing this? Why we keep talking about Florida. So we finally made the move, and it's been great. We absolutely love it here.
Well, good, man. I'm glad you guys are settled. I know that move is hard, especially you had kids at the time who were kind of at a critical time.
They were so cool about it. We're homeschoolers, we're homeschool advocates. Sam travels the country speaking on the subject. Before I forget, I got to throw sorbostudios.com. Please go to sorbostudios.com. Sign up. We'll keep you up to date. We got our books on there. We got our DVDs on there. We got scripts. We got so many different things there, but we also want people just to sign up, just so they can keep up with what we're doing. I've got 4 movies in post-production right now and 3 documentaries. So I'm staying busy, which is good.
Yeah. You mentioned staying busy, and you said you had 80 movie credits of acting on your IMDb.
Yeah.
I was there last night, and you're nearing 200 credits between acting, producing, directing, and things like that. Yep. And what strikes me is, Kevin, you're always working. And so I wanted to talk about work with you a little bit, because you're a guy who probably doesn't have to work as hard as you do, but it's very clear you're driven and you're purposeful in that. So what's your philosophy on work, and how do you kind of balance that with family?
Well, I love the business. I still am passionate about it now as I was when I was 20 years old. So I love being on the set. I love the creativity of it all. Hollywood booted me out, a good 10, 11 years ago, because they don't like the fact I'm a Christian and a conservative, because that's apparently, that makes me a double leper in Hollywood. And, you got to laugh at their hypocrisy, because they scream for tolerance and freedom of speech, but it's all a one-way street with these guys. Hollywood is as bad as Washington, D.C. There's a lot of evil there. There's a lot of hate, a lot of anger and divisiveness. And what a horrible way to go through life. But we formed Sorbo Studios, and we're doing movies that Hollywood used to do, movies that have hope and love and laughter and redemption, and wonderful movies that have a positive message instead of a negative one. And so we're going to keep on doing that. I love staying busy. I don't know. It was just 2010, I think, was a big turnaround year for me in terms of the movies I wanted to keep doing. I did a movie called What If? And in my 87 plus movies, What If's in my top 3. And a lot of
Okay.
people don't know about it, which is unfortunate because that's the independent world. How do you get these movies out there
Right.
without a big advertising budget? Well, What If was written by the same guys that did my movie God's Not Dead, which was a really huge hit. In my book, What If is a better movie. So I just kept, Dallas Jenkins directed it. His father, Jerry Jenkins, funded it. Like I said, the same writers that did God's Not Dead did What If. I think their most recent one was Nefarious, and they did Unplanned before that. But, you know, I get a call. What's interesting, the full circle thing with Dallas is that he directs me in that movie. It's my first really sort of faith-based movie. And I said, I want to do more movies like this. It doesn't have to be faith-based, but I want family-friendly movies that have a positive message. And, you know, the old Cary Grant, Jimmy Stewart movies, things like that had good messages in them and good family movies. But I get a call from Jerry Jenkins because I directed the most recent Left Behind based off his book. And
Right.
Jerry said, this is easily the best rendition of my book ever done on a movie. I could take that as a better compliment from anybody. You know, I knew Tim LaHaye, his writing partner, but he passed years ago. So it was good to be part of this. It was a lot of fun to be part of such a great movie.
Nice. Yeah, I got to see Miracle in East Texas before it came out. And man, I really enjoyed that. It was nice to be able to sit down with my family in the living room and watch a film together. So thank you.
Well, see, that's another thing. Great movie, great script. I was blessed to direct that one as well. Sam's in it. She does there's a great courtroom scene where she steals a movie in. And it was, you know, here's this movie. It's a true story set in 1930, written by an Oscar-nominated writer, Dan Gordon. Dan Gordon wrote The Hurricane, Denzel Washington, White Earp, Kevin Costner. Great writer. And we don't have the big money to get promotions on it, you know, to get it out to you know, we can't do. It was a $2 million movie. You can't have $100 million advertising budget like they do for, you know, Avatar and Avengers and Spider-Man movies. So we got to rely on word of mouth. And it's frustrating that movie is such a good movie. And, you know, hopefully people watch this now will go check it out. I think it's streaming somewhere, or they can get a copy from us at Sorbo Studios. It's a wonderful PG-rated family movie. True story.
Yeah. Yeah, it strikes me, you mentioned a little bit kind of being blacklisted in Hollywood, and yet you've still been able to work and do
for
stuff
being
that
a
you're
patriot.
proud of.
I got blacklisted for being a patriot, but go ahead.
Yeah, a super spreader of truth, as my t-shirt reads.
Oh, they hate that. They hate the truth. It bothers them.
Yeah, and yet, you know, you're still able to work, you're still able to stay busy, feed your family and all that, and you can still do stuff you're proud of. And I think it's important. I worked in a similar place. I was not acting, but I was working in the industry. And ever since leaving, it's amazing to see the freedom you receive and still the ability to work and do stuff that you really care about. I want to ask you about something real quick.
Sure.
As men, we understand that so much of our identity is wrapped up in what we do, right? And what we produce. Like if we're not doing stuff we're proud of, it really does weigh on us.
Yeah.
What would you say your identity is, Kevin?
My identity?
Yeah.
Wow. That's an interesting question. Well, hopefully it's from the movies I've been doing. I mean, I get stopped, you know, I get recognized every day. I mean, Hercules was a massive hit. We were in 176 countries. Andromeda ran for 150 episodes in 150 countries, and it was 110 episodes of that one. I get stopped mostly because of the faith movement. It's God's Not Dead. It's What If. It's Soul Surfer. And they said, please keep making those movies. And I said, well, please keep spreading the word because you are our advertisers. So I'm hoping it's those kind of movies. And I'm proud of it. I mean, I'm not trust me, I made a lot more money when I did Hercules and Andromeda TV series. I mean, those make big money on shows. The movies I'm doing now, you know, I'm still in the SAG unit. I'm in the Directors Guild. So I take the minimum. I take the minimum amount for the budgeted movies that we do. And to me, it's a blessing just to be part of these movies that have good messages. And hopefully that's kind of what I think my calling has turned out to be. And I didn't set out that way. I've always been a Christian. I've always been a conservative, but I don't get angry at people at different points of view. I don't know whatever happened, but the mainstream media and you know, Washington, D.C. and all this stuff, it's amazing to me in Hollywood, the mix of what they're doing. They just to spread this culture of over-sexualization and hate and anger and divisiveness. That's like, if you have a different point of view, that you just get canceled now. Why do they have all, why can't you have two sides? Why can't, you want to talk about global change and, climate change and global warming. Well, I did a documentary called Climate Hustle 2, which had all these scientists. I'm just the guy introducing these scientists. And you're going, why can't you put that? Okay, let them watch, the Al Gore thing, and then let them watch, a different point of view, and let kids decide on their own. But they get 99.9% of the time, they just push that one agenda. And there's so many people that don't believe in this stuff. To me, I call it weather. I mean, you don't know the weather. Give me the weather forecast of Paris in the month of April in 1810. Well, there are no records for that. They don't know. And now all these scientists are coming and say, look, we need more carbon. We need more stuff. I mean, we're at dangerously low levels here. So it's like, let people decide on their own, but they don't let that. Hollywood puts out their scare movies, and, Al Gore becomes a billionaire on his fear factor, but people don't pay attention to that now, do they? It's so ridiculous.
It's partly that Hegelian dialectic where they're intentionally dividing us and causing us to be enemies with one another.
Yep.
Ultimately, I think so that the man, the controllers can come in and swoop in and bring their form of order, which I think we saw really clearly in 2020 when it was like the maskers and the vaxxers and then this person and that person.
Yep.
And we were being told we would be killing grandma, right? I mean, we were literally painted as murderers. And so, I do know though, that you have a presence on social media. You've got relatively big followings on like X, and you're posting regularly. Do you see a time where that kind of return to free speech or return to the middle is available?
Well, Elon Musk certainly helped with that. I mean, Facebook took me down 3 years ago for posting the truth about COVID, posting the truth about voter fraud. Mm-hmm. We have all the truth out there, but they still, they're the deniers more than anybody else. You can't tell me Joe Biden got 15 million more votes than Obama did in 2008.
Right.
I mean, Obama was a rock star to these people. And again, charming guy, well-spoken, got out there and I'm going to do all this, do all that. Then you get Biden, who sat in his basement during COVID.
Right.
You tell me he got more votes than Trump. Trump actually got 10 or 12 million more votes the second time around. Even most presidents, even if they get reelected, don't get as many votes the second time around as they did the first time. And Obama is a perfect, most recent example of that. Trump got even more.
Right.
And I believe the number of voters are more than the number of voters that are actually registered. Gee, I wonder if there's anything there. Dinesh D'Souza did that 2000 Mules documentary. Yeah. And you got this one guy in Philadelphia every night, just hundreds of ballots stuffing this place. And they got it on camera because of these security cameras. You're going, is this a good Samaritan going at 3 a.m, dropping off all these ballots? I mean, it's so blatant and obvious, and yet you get attacked and censored if you say, look, something's wrong in the voting system. And I've been saying since the start, if we're going to keep this stupid mail-in voting thing happen, there'll never be an honest election in America. Right. It should be honest for everybody on both sides of the fence.
Yep. Well, you just officially got us banned from YouTube for this video. We're going to get awesome. Knocked down on that one. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And we're going to go into more controversial topics coming up that are sure to get this thing knocked off of every platform. So thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. That's my job, is to get truth banned completely.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think that was part of what woke people up, was like with COVID, we can give people a lot of the benefit of the doubt, right? Not everybody had all the information, and there were some who were more prone to believing lies, right? Or trusting the government. But what was really frustrating was that as there was good information coming out, it was being suppressed by all the social media and all the news. And I think actually at some point, the other side started to realize, okay, if it's such dangerous information, is it real? Is it important? And now we've seen a big swing, like what used to be fringe, that let's just say the anti-vax movement, right? Yeah. Used to be a fringe insult to people. Oh, you're an anti-vaxxer. Well, now we know that way more people are rejecting their 3rd and 4th and 5th and 9th booster.
Yeah.
And because of that, there's been a fallout where now people aren't doing their kids to send them to school. So yeah, I think the tables have turned, and part of that is a reaction to that hardcore censorship.
One of my things I posted on Twitter recently, I said I need more conspiracy theories because all of mine came true.
Right.
I mean, everything
Exactly.
they took me down for in Facebook, it all came true. I was right completely. And the proof is in the pudding there. Even Fauci came out recently and said, yeah, the masks weren't really that effective. Of course they weren't.
Yeah.
Doctors wear masks all the time. Yeah, because they got open heart surgery. They don't want sweat or saliva dropping into the cavity of that person's body. It's not we have all these people saying how big the virus was, how small it was. And yet that the smoke, if you smoke, you could go right through that thing. And those molecules or whatever the hell they are, they're much bigger than the virus. So they compared it to putting up a chain link fence to keep mosquitoes out of your yard. I mean, it's crazy to me that people are waking up, but there's still people, you walk through airports. I still see about 1 in every 100 person still wearing a mask. I saw a guy the other day in the car still wearing his mask by himself. Yeah. And I look at this stuff and it just totally cracks me up. But these are people that will wear masks the rest of their lives. Rest of their lives. And it's really quite sad. But that's government's favorite weapon is fear. And some people just live in fear now and they just want to be total control. That's what the government wants. Total control of your life from cradle to grave. They want you to listen. We're God. It's not that they don't believe in God. They just believe they are God. And that's why they wanted to stop you from going to church, because that wasn't essential. Mom and pop grocery stores for 60 years aren't essential. Costco is.
Right.
And Target is. Why is that? Oh, because they're big companies that are liberal and they throw millions of dollars at the government, or, it's insane what we've done to people. And I'm grateful now that more and more the truth is coming out. Oh, it was a virus from a market, from bats. Now we all know there's all these people coming out, scientists that know far more than you mean. No, it was developed, Fauci's guilty Fauci should be in prison. So should Gates. Those guys are evil people, what they did. And remember, our government paid our tax dollars to hospitals for every $19,000 for every COVID the
infection.
Proof, and they gave him $39,000 for every death. Mm-hmm. Of course, they were killing people. We let these, and it's coming out more and more. The ventilators did nothing but help people die. That's what the ventilators did. And if you're going to give me $39,000 to lie, I will lie like crazy till I raise enough money for my next movie. Right. I mean, it's insane. And this was our tax dollars. And what did the government do, especially under Biden the last 3 years? Print money, print. I've got a T-shirt on Sorbo Studios from one of my Twitters that says, "Why do I have to pay taxes if we can just keep printing money?"
Yeah, amen. Yeah, well, and why do we pay taxes now if it's just going to go to Ukraine and other countries?
Yeah, we have enough problems in our own country.
Yeah, exactly. We have a border that
go back to Vietnam, for crying out loud. What the hell was that war about? And you talk the last 20 years in the Middle East, where we spent trillions of dollars. What changed? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. They're still in control.
Yeah. We're going to switch gears a little bit, but first I want to take a break. I think this is a good time to do it. Man, if you're enjoying the Thinking Dad podcast, I want to ask for your help. As you know, the Thinking Dad podcast is a brand new show, and we need your help getting the word out. Spread the word. Think of 1 or 2 dads who could really use this encouragement, and send them a link to the show. If you're watching on YouTube, if we're still on YouTube, go ahead and hit subscribe on our channel, like this video, and leave a comment. It really does help with the algos. Now I have a feeling this one ain't gonna last on YouTube. So if you're watching on X or another platform, do the same thing. Go ahead and subscribe or follow us, like this video, and share it. Be a part of the conversation. If you're listening on a podcast app, take a minute to go in and rate and review the show. It helps others to know why this show's an encouragement to you, and it really does help to get the word out. Also, man, take a minute, go to CTCMath.com and just say thank you for supporting this show. They're such a blessing, and they just believe in this mission, so they were game to come along with us for the first season and support us in a big way. If you are blessed by this show, it's partially because of them. I want you to take a minute and say thank you to them. It really does help out. All right, we are with Kevin Sorbo, not just a former male model, but also actor, director, writer, speaker, activist. And Kevin, I wanted to go back to something we hit on. You have an amazing wife, and you've been married a long time in an industry where that's really not the norm. How has that happened?
I just agree with everything she says. So 26 years. Yeah. I told her on our 10th anniversary, that was like a golden anniversary in Hollywood, because if you look at actors that have been married 26 years, that's probably a combination of 5 different weddings.
Right.
So,
Yep.
You know what? We have our battles, but we're on the same page on so many things, and I think we balance out each other in a lot of good, positive ways. And it's, I grew up, my parents were together 60 years before my dad passed away.
Wow.
And so I grew up in a very positive, impression of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents argued, yeah, but there wasn't like screaming, there wasn't that kind of stuff. They disagreed and stuff. But man, I got memories of my dad, all the time coming up and hugging my mom through all those decades I was at, that I've known them. And just never really having, I think Sam and I have bigger fights than my mom and dad ever did, certainly. But we're both strong-willed people, know, and that's going to happen. But I think we work together really well. And she's a great mother and homeschool advocate. She travels the country. My kids are awesome. I think one of the blessings of COVID, to go back to our last segment, is that 2 million more homes are homeschooling now.
Right.
Because people started waking up to how horrible our public education system is, because it's just gotten worse decade after decade. I mean, when I was in school back in the 70s and in early 80s, teachers taught what they were being paid to teach. They weren't telling me to change my sex. They weren't telling me that I'm a white person that's evil. They weren't telling me don't believe in God or only vote for a liberal. They weren't telling me that stuff. But that's all we get now, brainwash over and over again. So I think people said, honey, maybe we shouldn't use public schools as a babysitting service for our kids. Maybe, just maybe, we should start looking at homeschooling. So 2 million more families are doing that now. And I think more and more will do it, because it's insane. Here in the state of Florida, they got rid of 12 conservative school boards across the state. They replaced it with conservative people that want to make public school good again. But public school will never be good because it's run by the government.
Right. Yeah. I have to touch on this only because you brought it up, the homeschooling thing. And
sure,
this is the revolution. I think truly, if there's one, aside from just the gospel, right? Aside from gospel change in people's hearts, I think if there's one movement that can truly change the course of our nation for good, it's homeschooling. And your wife was a big part of our movie, Schoolhouse Rocked, the Homeschool Revolution. We were so glad to have her, and her voice is so strong in that. But parents, I would encourage you, if your kids are still in the government schools, understand there is an agenda there, and it's not really a safe place. So check out the movie. You touched on your kids, and you're in a similar place as me as a parent. You have young adult kids and one who's right on the cusp of adulthood. How has that transition been for you as you've seen your kids go from, school kids to kind of making it on their own?
Well, I love the false rumor that kids that are homeschooled don't have social skills. Homeschooled kids have far better social skills than the bullying world and the ridiculous, crazy, hate-filled world of public schools. My kids, I put them up against, that they're going to beat probably 95% of public school kids in terms of testing and math and science and history and civics. They don't teach civics in school anymore because they don't want kids to grow up realizing it's we the people. But
right.
No, we can't let them know that. So, look, I've always joked, but I don't think it's much of a joke. I think that our government now is worse than the British monarchy was when we had the Revolutionary War. There's more control and more stipulations on what we can do now. We're losing freedom of speech every single day. People are getting arrested. There was a guy in England, because England's getting horrible too. Canada, forget about it. That guy's a dictator up there. He's just a goofball. Trudeau's son I think it's more Fidel Castro's son is what the rumor is from all my Canadian buddies. And you look at the photos, you're going, it sure looks like that could have happened. But there was a guy in London who got 2 years in prison for having a sticker on his car saying, it's okay to be white. That's all it says. It's okay to be white. 2-year sentence.
Wow.
What is going on? I mean, it's weird what's going on right now. And this whole diversity thing, look, I always post stuff that I need more diversity in the NBA. We need more white people in the NBA. It's not fair. We need more people from Guam. We need more midgets. We need more Hispanic people. We need more. I mean, the NBA is like 85% African American. That's not fair. That's unfair. You know, and I say that as sarcasm. I get attacked for saying that. I'm going, no. My point is exactly what sports are doing, like the NBA. You want to hire the best people for the job. Exactly. It's as simple as that. I don't care what color people are, what religion they're, whatever they may be. If I run a business, I want to hire, in my mind, is this the best person for the job or is this person? I want to hire the best person. It's as simple as that. And sports is a place that plays that out. And I laugh at people's response when I say I want more diversity in pro sports. You guys go, why? Because the white people aren't good enough to compete as the black people? They don't get the joke in this reality of how stupid it is that, yes, I agree you should hire the best person.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, life is really a meritocracy, and the left wants to deny that.
Yeah.
But then when they put people up who can't really carry the ball, like I'm gonna just name Fannie Willis is just stumbling all over herself right now.
Yeah.
And the left is going to eat her alive. They love to eat their own when they can't live up to this ideal. Yeah. That's of course an insane ideal. We understand when you're talented, when you're smart, when you're, good at what you do, you progress. And when you're put up and you're not good at those things, you're set up to fail.
Well, let me talk about it. I'll take the NBA again. Take a Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. You take guys like that. What does that do for younger kids? They go, I want to work harder. I want to be good like that too. Competition's a good thing. And right now we're trying to get rid of that where everybody's the same. We're not all the same. I'll never be as good as Tiger Woods in golf. Even though I love golf, I'll never touch that.
Right. But
because of people like that, it made other people work hard to follow that dream. We're laughing at people now following the American dream. We're trying to get rid of it. I'm not. I still believe in the American dream to come to this country. Nobody is taking boats from Key West to Cuba, are they?
Right.
No Americans are running to the Mexican border saying, I really want to get into Mexico.
Right.
So it's you brought up earlier about what we're doing at the border. It's unforgiving and unimaginable what Biden and his people are doing. Trump let 1.4 million in 4 years. This guy's let over 10 million in 3 years, and we're flying people in as well. That just came out that at least 380,000 immigrants didn't have to cross the border by foot. We actually sent down United and Delta and American Airlines to fly them in and land them in cities.
Yeah.
And I'm going, look, this is treason.
Yeah, and it's so much worse than we're even seeing on social media. Of course, on the news, they're not showing it. My little brother served on the border for many months in the Texas Guard, and he would tell me stories that were just heartbreaking and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah.
And what frustrates me is right now, as we record this, the left is blaming the right for not passing a border security bill, right?
I know.
We have all the laws we need. We don't need more laws.
And we had them under Trump.
Right.
Biden to get rid of that.
Yeah.
So, and he's down there. He decides to show up at the border the same day Trump does. He goes where there's really not much happening. Trump goes where it's busy.
Right.
And he blamed Trump for the border problem. And you're going, they know they lie.
Right.
They know they lie, but they don't care. They just don't care. All the problems that they create, they deflect. It's all deflection. They blame it on, when something bad's going to happen now, and people are going, I didn't see this coming. How did you not see it coming? Because there's so much ignorance in America. There's so much uneducated people in America not looking at the facts and the reality of what this country's doing.
Yeah.
I mean,
you talk about the lies and you say they lie. One of the things I realized early on in COVID, you mentioned Fauci and that Fauci needed to go to jail, and Fauci's now come out and said the masks weren't really effective. And one of the things I realized early on was that the lying and the gaslighting was really a strategic weapon to break us down. Because if you remember in the beginning, Fauci said, don't wear masks. Unless you're a surgeon, you don't need to wear a mask. They're not really going to do anything.
He did say that early on.
Right. And then he said, no, we need to wear masks. Go ahead and wear masks. Then he said, you probably need to wear 2 masks because one's not working. So 2's going to do more. Right. And what I realized was that even the essential, non-essential thing, everything was presented to us and it was clearly ridiculous.
Sure.
But we were supposed to accept it. And that was really to break us down, break down our will so that we would just say, yes, whatever you want us to do, we'll do.
That's what people do. We're just zombies. We're just, look, like you said, I was wrong. Cause he went backstage afterwards. Dude, don't tell him tell him to wear a mask. So next time, wear a mask. Oh, you still got COVID. Okay. Take a shot and keep the mask. Oh, you still got COVID. Okay. Wear 2 masks, take a second shot. Oh, you still got COVID. Okay. Take a booster. We'll call it a booster, even though it's another shot. We'll give it a different name. It sounds like, oh, it's not that big a deal. And it's unbelievable. The number of, it's like an 800% casualty rate among 24 and younger that took the shot now. 800% more deaths in that age group than they've ever seen before. And they don't want to relate it to the shots.
Right.
When all these people dying with heart. There's a pilot, American Airlines pilot, who got fired. He wouldn't take the shot. I can't remember his name. I got his business card here. I met him. And he is now reporting all the number of pilots that are getting heart attacks. They're dying. They're dying in their hotel rooms on layovers. And so you get to the plane, you're going, oh, we're still waiting on a pilot to show up because they had to call another one to show up. He says, this is huge what's going on. And they're covering all this stuff up. They don't want anybody to know about it. But it's happening more and more and more. And they're worried about diversity. The CEO of United Airlines is an ex-Navy SEAL or something, yet he dresses in drag. Video footage when they walk around all 4. I mean, it's just really bizarre.
It's
and
a
he's the one that
show.
says, I want more diversity. I want amputees flying planes. I want people, I want all female. And I'm like going, Rob Schneider's a good friend of mine. Very, from SNL. He's in all of Adam Sandler's movie. They're very good friends. He's very conservative. And I saw a bit of his stand-up the other day on the internet. And he said, so I guess we're tired of white pilots landing planes safely. We just need a little more excitement on our plane rides now. I thought, once again, hire the best people. I don't care if they're a woman or a black or white. I want to hire the best people and the best pilots because I fly a lot. I want to land safely too. But it's the world we live in right now. We're just, this attacks on anybody who's looking for normalcy because they're changing all the words. They're redefining everything. They're rewriting history. Pull down statues for crying out loud. And I said, please send the statues to me. I would love to put Lincoln and Jefferson and Madison, all these guys along my driveway. I think it'd be awesome. But God forbid, bad people. And the people that are canceling, these must be absolutely sin-free, perfect people, right? Because they're judging everybody else. But these people are just Antifa. They must be wonderful, wonderful people. What they're doing, when they attack people, beat them with lead pipes and burn stores down and attack police. What wonderful, wonderful people that want to cancel you and me. Amazing, good citizens. You know what? Let's ship them off to their utopia. They should move to Venezuela. We'll tax dollars. We'll fly them to Venezuela, North Korea, Russia, Cuba even. We'll give some of them Cuba. They can't leave the country. They can't come back to Florida. But give them these countries that they want to turn America into, because that's obviously their utopia.
Right. Yeah. It's something that's been tested the world over and over and over again, and it always fails. So let's shift gears a little bit. I know that one of the things you spend a lot of your off time on is kind of your activism. I know you're heavily involved in the pro-life movement.
Yep.
You were a part of a documentary that was a pro-life documentary. Tell me a little bit about that. Why spend your time doing that stuff?
Well, it's murder. We have brainwashed people for the last, it's been around for a long time, but for the last 50 plus years, we've been telling people that it's no different than, sneezing. These are the same people that will want you in prison for eating a sea turtle egg, or they'll chain themselves to a tree, but they have no problem killing a human being. We have desensitized people to the point that the life doesn't matter.
Right.
And how do you break that 3-generation cycle now where people are just growing up? Look, I do a lot of pro-life speaking. Everyone's pro-life events. I'll have 500 people to 3,000 people at the events I speak at. And I'll always meet at my signing table afterwards for people who want to buy a book or get a picture with me or whatever. All these women that have had abortions come up to me and say, Kevin, I live with it every day. Mm. It kills me. It kills me every day what I did. And people, what about people that were raped? Well, that's such a small percentage of it, and I see the argument in that. I really do, but I still don't see the argument of taking a human life. We're killing people left and right. China makes us look like nothing. That China's had close to 500 million forced abortions. That's 160 million more people have living in America. I say that, but I'm not counting the 30 to 35 million illegals that are here. But I have a script called Pearls for China, and it'll never get made because it doesn't show China in a good light, because China has this whole control over the media and certainly has control over Hollywood. I have recently had a documentary come out on Epic TV. Please go to epictv.com and check it out. And it deals with the issue of China controlling everything that Hollywood does. And in the movies, we're making America look bad. We're making China, communism, look like a wonderful thing. But let's face it, even though they rule their people in China under communism, the evil of communism, they are a capitalist government. They love making money. Right. So there's their own hypocrisy going on there. But, the battle is on, and I'm here I'm going to keep fighting as much as I can.
Yeah. Since we're already going to get kicked off YouTube for this one, I'm going to just go to the next topic, which is it always strikes me that the left is a death cult, and you're fighting against their number one method of worship, right? Is child sacrifice. Yeah. But recently, in the last 10 years or so, we've seen the rise of the transgender movement. And we have to look at that in the same light, in that they're sterilizing these kids. Yeah. And so it seems to me that very clear that the left is working from both ends now. Kill the kids before they get made, and then the ones that do get made, don't let them reproduce. Yeah. What do you see as the future for our nation? Are you hopeful right now?
I am hopeful, because people are starting to speak up more and more and more. They're not afraid to come out and do it. And I got to thank Elon Musk again for that with Twitter. Certainly Donald Trump with Truth. We need an equal voice on both sides. Why can't we look at the opposite side of every issue? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with peeking at that. So to me, I'm going to keep on, speaking the truth. I'm going to keep on fighting the good fight. Once again, go to sorbostudios.com is a great place to go. But we got to stop letting fear be the control for us. I keep telling them, I want to wake up the lions. The sheep are going to be the sheep. Mm-hmm. They're the biggest weapon against them and against what they do themselves is apathy. I think apathy is one of the biggest killers in America, let alone the world. People say, oh, well, what can I do? Well, there's a lot you can do. Just got to do it. Every movie I've been shooting in the last 6-7 years, I get another actor, I get a director, a lighting guy. I get somebody coming up to me. It happens more than once in each movie, but very quietly, like we're doing a drug deal over in the corner of the studio, and they'll say, hey, thanks for being a voice for us. I go, well, be a voice for yourself. Oh, man, I want to get blacklisted like you. And you will get blacklisted, which is really pathetic, because I don't harbor that anger towards Hollywood's point of view. I find it childish and ridiculous, because that's really what they're like. And a bunch of junior high school punks and kids that just want to, spread rumors and giggle. Ooh, look at that person. And they're so immature about it. It's weird. I did a movie called Let There Be Light that my wife wrote. Sean Hannity funded. Did very well in theaters. Came out in 2018. Mm-hmm. I get a call opening weekend. We're a $2.3 million movie up against Thor Ragnarok's opening weekend. $300 million movie with a $100 million advertising budget. We open up number 2 per screen average. Number 2, I get a call from Netflix saying, we want to open an inspirational division with you. Wow. I have 4 meetings with them over the next 3 months. Ultimately, they did nothing. It was weird. I said, guys, remember, you called me. You're the ones who wanted this. And yet your ideology and your hate towards Christians and towards conservatives, you are a capitalist business. Right. You want to make money. And so there's 80 million homes in this country, 80 million that want the kind of movies I do. And yet you don't want to service that and I could tell in that room about 10 people from Netflix, half of them were in agreement with me, but they're so afraid to open their mouths. Mm-hmm. So afraid. And that's the Hollywood system. Because you look at network TV, one guy makes a decision. He's got all these yes people around him. It's going to be like, so what do you think? What do you think? And as soon as if the CEO, ABC says, I don't like it, I don't like it either. I agree with you 100%. They're all afraid have their own opinion because they want to keep their jobs. And that's really unfortunate that there has to be that kind of a setup, but that's what's going on. Yeah,
I hear you. Well, you've shifted your attention in some ways. You've worked, you've got to deal with Brave Books. You got a new book out, right?
I do.
Tell me about this.
Brave Books, that's a line that, Kirk Cameron's a friend of mine. He was my neighbor for 10 years when I was living in California. So a couple of years ago or last year, Kirk was being banned from public libraries that use our tax dollars to stay open, by the way, because he was reading children's books. to 7, 8-year-olds, but they were fine with drag queens
Right.
reading these children's books, dressed up like over sexualized, over whatever. And I thought it was kind of funny. I started commenting on it. So Brave Books got a hold of me and said, I see that, because I got a t-shirt too, like my son, where it says toxic masculinity on it, and or the future's patriarchy. These are the kind of things that I'm putting out there. So we came up with a book. It's called The Test of Lionhood. It's a wonderful book about a lion cub named Lucas, that he's out in the woods with his sisters where they play and they're having a good time. Well, his sister gets cut by this plant that can kill you. And he knows that. He's been taught all these things from his father. So they have a mother and a father. It's shocking, I know. So he knows he doesn't have time to get home to get his dad or his mom to help, that he's closer to the mountain where the flower is. That is the antidote to that. So he's got to pass his own fears. He's got to find the courage, and he ends up saving his little sister's life. Yeah. And I got attacked by the alphabet crowd. I can't even say it because they've got every alphabet and every pi and the, Pythagorean theorem. They've taken everything right now. And I said, this is not anti-transgender. It's not anti-anything. It's pro-child. It's all it is pro-child. In my book, let kids grow up to be kids. Let kids grow up to be adults and become like fathers, become good fathers, good, pillars in the community. Let them grow up. Let them get old enough to make a decision what they want to make in life, that big of a decision. Don't tell a 5-year-old boy because he throws on his mom's high heels that is, oh, you want to be a girl? Let's cut your penis off. Let them grow up. I've seen plenty of videos of transgenders now 20 years old or older saying, what were you doing, Mom? I was a kid. What were you thinking? Not a 5-year-old that's going to sit there and go, okay. I mean, I've got a doctor. I'm not going to, big hospital around the country. And he said, you know what? We used to get one every 6 months. We're getting 10 a week now. Wow. Do you not tell me there's not an influence coming out through our teachers, our public schools, through the internet? The internet's the Wild West. There's good things about it. There's more evil things about it than there's anything else. And you got higher suicide rates amongst kids. You got spousal abuse, child abuse. All these negative things are coming out because of this thing that we're on right now. And there's great things about it. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of bad things about it too.
Yeah. Well, what I appreciate about that book and about this movement is that you're telling young men, it's okay to be lions. It's okay to grow into men in a time when manhood is being attacked so specifically and so harshly. Yeah. And what is clear is that we need real men, right? We need men to stand up, to protect their families, to protect culture and work for the right thing.
I'm seeing a lot of videos now, these liberal women saying, I hate to say it, but I think I need a conservative man in my life. I need a man that's a man, because too many of these liberal men, they're just wusses to us.
Yes.
And you mentioned earlier, the liberals are always the one, they're the snake that eats their own tail all the time. Look, I got to get this in before we say goodbye here, because, I'm even getting canceled now from autograph shows. We cancel these Comic-Cons because of Hercules and that drama. But just because I'm a conservative, these guys that run it don't want to bring me in. I would love to meet them one-to-one and have a debate, because I think it's so immature. These are such little children that I don't want him to come to my con because he believes in God. It's just so, there's no other way to explain it except immaturity. So when I do go, though, these last 7, 8 years of these events, people come up to me now. They don't want 8x10s of Hercules. They want 8x10s of my movie, of me and God's Not Dead, What If, Soul Surfer, Let There Be Light. That's what they want. Yeah. So I said, we got to put something together like that. So I teamed with Adam Phelps. Adam runs Comic-Cons in the Midwest, and he's a conservative Christian guy. And he said, let's do one. So we're doing a faith and family convention, and it's wide open to agnostics and atheists as well. Please come. But if you go to riseupcon.com, that's riseupcon, short for convention.com. Nice. You'll recognize the actors up. They got John Schneider. We got Dean Cain. We got Neil McDonough. We got who's got the writers? Chuck and Carrie from the God's Not Dead and all that. We got Jerry Jenkins is coming. We got a wonderful group of people. We have a charity golf event the day before. It's May 30th, May 31st, June 1st. Go to riseupcon.com. You'll fly into Knoxville, drive down just south to Sevierville, and you're right next to Dollywood as well. Make it a great things for the family. Riseupcon.com. Show up, be there. We got some wonderful, wonderful events going on. We're going to show 2 movies and 2 documentaries. Don't miss it. It's going to be awesome.
Nice. It's in a great area too, man. That's a beautiful place.
Beautiful. It's beautiful there. And they can take the family, go spend a couple days at Dollywood.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, thank you so much. We will share all those links in the show notes.
Cool.
Tell everybody one more time where they can find you and learn about your new projects.
SorboStudios.com is a place to go. My wife and I are both on that one. She's got her app, I got my app, and we got ours together. It's all stuff about coming down the pipeline, everything that's happening. So SorboStudios.com.
Good deal. Well, we'll share that in the show notes. Kevin, thank you again for joining me today. Tell Sam I said hi, and tell your whole family we really appreciate him. And we'll talk to you soon, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed our conversation today with Kevin Sorbo. Check out the show notes at thinkingdad.net for links to everything he's talked about. We'll share it all there. And while you're at thinkingdad.net, make sure you pick up a cool t-shirt like mine. Also, subscribe to our newsletter. Because we're a seasonal show, this is the best way to keep up with what's coming up next, when new seasons will come and things like that. So check out our newsletter at thinkingdad.net. We promise to never spam you. Also, while you're there, if you feel led, you can donate to support the show. Every bit helps, and we really do appreciate that support. Check it out at thinkingdad.net. I hope you've been encouraged today. Stick around to the end to hear a clip of what's coming up next on The Thinking Dad, and we'll see you back here soon.
The thing that struck me was this use of the word identity. And I started to think about, if you had nothing, if you had no home, no car, no bank account, no clothes except what's on your body, cut off from all of your friends, no phone, right? Like if you had nothing, no Bible, nothing, what would you have left? And that's what I would want to strengthen. If we don't teach our children to define themselves, to know their identity, then the world will identify them for you. And the first place they're going to start is in the most inappropriate and disordered way, which right now is your sexuality. That defines who you are. If you have a creator, that is the most important thing that about you that can possibly exist. This is why I believe that Darwinism and the resulting agnostic, atheistic view, even of moral people, moral atheism, it strips people of an identity. I am a creation. There's a creator. And if that's true, what's my relationship?